All right. So, hi, everybody. My name is Miss Atwood, and I am here from Ag in the Classroom. And we are going to get started. And we are fortunate enough to
And
join at Jamie Matt's farm, and which is located in Harpersville, New York. So, not too far from where you are. And what we're going to do today is we are going to allow Jamie to walk us around the farm, and we're going to learn about what happens here.
I can hear her now. Up there, it was breaking up.
All right.
She's saying come that way a little bit.
So friends, what we're going to do, raise your hand if you have birds at home. Awesome. And raise your hand if you have ever visited a farm before. Perfect. Now, I'm super excited just watching right here. I noticed that there's a lot of dogs, and the dogs here are border collies. Raise your hand if you have border collies. Awesome. Now,
You hear her
friends,
now?
we are all good. I gave them my phone, so they're able to walk around the farm now, and we should be able to hear them. Friends out there, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Good.
me?
Yeah, you should be good. You have my phone now, so you'll be good to walk up.
Oh,
Yes.
walk up the hill.
All right.
Okay.
So,
All
friends,
right,
we're
gotcha.
super excited. Now, I want to just do a brief introduction. And Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about your farm and how you got started here in Harpersville?
Sure can. My name is Jamie Matz. I've lived here since I was 12. Speak of the Hawks. And when I was 12, my parents split. My mom bought the house and an acre. When I got out of dental hygiene school, I bought the barn and more land. And so I've been here for 40 years. And the hobby has just grown. I started out when I was 14, showing at the Shenango County Fair in 4-H. And I met a couple people that had raised a bunch of different varieties of chickens and ducks, and they introduced me to show poultry. And when I was probably 16 or so, I picked up my first show chickens, and then it's been going, uh, more and more every year. I raise what are called cochins. I have 5 varieties of large fowl. And 8 varieties of bantams. The large fowl are the big regular size. Bantams are like the miniature version. What you're seeing, I also raise peacocks. There's one of my white peacocks. He's showing off for you a little bit.
Wow.
This is come summertime. The birds all come out to what I call their summer homes. I have 22 of these little red and white buildings that they get to enjoy the summer in. They're all separated. They all have their own yards, and so they become separated by colors. But like there's black large fowl, white large fowl. I'm raising the birds specifically more for a show purpose. I hatch my own chicks. Last year raised a little over 2,200 chicks. Being that I've been doing this for so long, a lot of people will Google, if you Google Cochins, the breed of chicken, my name pops up, and then people will ask as far as to, get birds and for their own enjoyment, either to show or just to have. But I have there's roughly 60 peacocks and probably about somewhere around 700 chicks right now. And then adult cochins, there's probably 600-ish or so. I need to keep a certain amount for the winter as far as to keep the barn warm so things don't freeze. They, body heat. But I also have pheasants. I raise dewlap Toulouse geese as far as the grays and the buffs. There's 45 geese here. Um, Basically the geese and the chickens are all show things as far as to go to like poultry shows. There's a poultry show every weekend across the United States. When I was in my 20s, I became a licensed judge, and so I've judged all over. But it's basically it's a hobby. Keeps me up in the morning and out at night and off the couch, and everybody keeps me healthy and happy and stressed. It's like it's not a job yet. It's all I come out here and if you have a bad day at work, which I usually don't, but it's still there's no stress involved. I seem to keep inquiring things. As you'll see, there's pheasants. I have red goldens, yellow goldens, Lady Amherst, Reeves. There's just so many different types of chickens, so many different types of pheasants, so many different colors of peacocks. Yeah, so I have a little bird addiction, you might call it. But it's very, very much, people say, why do you have so many pheasants? Right. I come out here on weekends and just sit on a bucket with a head of lettuce, and they all eat out of your hands. And, they're just personable and different. And, I
That's
like raising them up. I hatch the chicks and raise them and see what they're going to look like. And
awesome.
yeah,
Jamie, do you think that we
let's
could
go with this
open
one.
that door
Yep,
and
we're
peek
gonna. Well,
inside?
here.
Perfect. I'm a step ahead of you. Ha. So, friends, I was fortunate enough on our break, we were able to go in there, and it is so peaceful. It is so lovely. And look at these colors. Raise your hand if you can see one, two, three different color birds.
Yeah,
Those are,
I'm
and
breaking up.
Jamie, these are pheasants.
Yep, those are red golden and yellow. Well, I think there's mostly the one guy that stands out. He's a Reeves pheasant. Um, I call him Killer because he usually comes after my feet. That breed of pheasant is a little bit more I don't know, temperamental. But yeah, they're all those are all young boys. They were all last year's boys, and but they're pheasants.
Wow. And the peacock is on the top?
Probably is he? Yeah, well, the peacocks can kind of go wherever they want, and so
Oh.
all the trees that the the pen is all around. I planted. That's one good thing. It takes a good kick. You got it. Good thing about living here since, I mean, when I was 16, 17, I planted the spruce trees up back here. They came off my grandparents' farm, and then I built the pens underneath them. Basically, they stay out here all winter long. They'll, roost in the limbs of the trees. There's netting on top so they don't get out. But the peacocks can go wherever they want.
That's awesome. And when I was walking around, I noticed that there were different colored peacocks. I never knew that. How many different colored ones do you say you have around here?
I probably would have I'd say probably 30 different colors. I would say I never realized I myself. I mean, if you think of just the normal India blue, your normal peacock, and then my favorite. I have a couple that are purple, and basically it's just in the sunshine. When it hits their necks, the sun, it looks like it's magenta color or purple, and they're just
Yeah.
cool looking. And I just my favorite ones are the pied ones that are white and blue or white and purple. Some people, they see the white peacocks, and I'm like, I like the color. And then as you see what's going on down there, they're this time of year
Look at
they're
them. Are they
fighting a little bit.
dancing?
Well, the one's showing off, but the males get very territorial,
Yeah.
and so but can I open the okay?
Yes.
I'll open the baby house. I have the nursery here where all my incubators are. And it takes, you want me to bring it out here? You can come right in. Okay.
Yeah.
It takes 3 weeks for a chicken egg to hatch or a pheasant egg. It takes 4 weeks for a goose egg to hatch. This is the size of our goose egg.
Wow.
And if you want it, I can quickly grab the baby geese are just starting to hatch. Juliet.
Friends in the classroom,
Um,
raise your hand if your class has an incubator right now in there. Yeah, some of
so
us are.
yep, that's the baby goose right there. It's hard to believe that, next year at this time he'll weigh 35 pounds. But
Wow.
like I said, I hatch every Wednesday. I don't work on Wednesdays, so it gives me a chance to um, deal with the baby chicks and move things. But this is one of this week's hatches. And how we just came from the pheasants, this is a baby pheasant.
Oh, so little.
But and then as I was talking in the earlier class, this one here will look like that. This is Juliet, but
Oh, wow.
this one will grow up and look like her when she gets older. Hi, Juliet.
Wow. Juliet's the special bird, I heard.
Yeah, she's a special chicken. She's 2 years old. She's never come out of this building. So,
Oh,
but yeah, no, there's 4 incubators going. They turn the eggs every half hour. Like I said, here's another batch of chicks that are coming out for this week.
wow.
And basically they'll stay in this building because there's heat for about 6 weeks, depending on, how warm it is outside. But they feather out and then they get moved to another building and then from there to the barn and so forth as far as, and then outside. And some of these guys will get a chance to enjoy the warm weather. Like these guys here are our last week.
Awesome.
Is-
And Jamie, can I stop you just for 1 second? I forgot to tell you, friends, if you have questions, please type them into the question and answer section, and we will get them answered as best as we can. Sorry to interrupt. Perfect. How many eggs
hear
do
me?
you hatch? Yes.
How many? Okay, how many eggs? Well, I set probably, I'd say 3,000. I bet you. And what it is they're not all fertile, which means they've been the rooster and hen or cockbird have gotten together and you know made it so that the eggs are fertile. So some of them won't be fertile, and then those ones just get tossed. But like I said, hatching 2,200 chicks. I'm sure 2,200 chicks last year. I mean, I one of my projects is one of like the cochins I'm raising. I'm raising one called mottled. It's the large fowl. They're not accepted in the APA, the American Poultry Association, and I'm in the process of getting them accepted. These are last year's girls. If you looked around the farm, I have a ton that look like this, but I basically in 9 years made this color of chicken. But they have to have a cochin. The cochin breed is supposed to have yellow feet, yellow beak, a red eye. The roosters have 5 points. Any single comb breed of chicken has 5 points on their comb. And then as these guys age, they get more white. And so when we leave here, some of my breeder birds are really, really white, and they're not showable anymore. But these guys next year will have more white and just be, they're kind of a foundation to the color I get into the standard.
Awesome. And as they get older,
But
you show them, right? They're show quality
oh yeah,
chicken?
yep. If you look over, like I don't know if you look over here, this is a pen of breeder birds, and if you look in the back, there's a hen that has got a ton of white on her. She's too white to show.
Okay.
The correct color for a mottled basically is every black feather has a white tip. So these girls here, the one drinking is a really good variety, good representation. But they're supposed to have a nice round tail, and you can see on this one, her tail's a little pointed. That blue one's not supposed to be in there. But and then the blue ones, those are blue mottleds. And basically you can breed blue and black together and you get some of each. But the black mottled is what I'm trying to get in the standard. But like I said, there's poultry shows. In September, there's 3 shows in New York State. In June, there's one in Syracuse. And it all, like for me, it all started off at the fairs, and then went those are all young boy peacocks, making their
So,
walkabout.
yeah. So, friends, who's ever gone to a fair? Yeah. So we could relate to that. Now, when you're at the fair, what do you do there? You show, well, now you're judging, but you do show as well.
Right. Yeah, I don't show at the fairs any much
Okay.
anymore because I'm basically judging. But I mean, it's such a good opportunity, at like the kids showing at the fairs, uh, doing showmanship. I mean, was showing there when I was 14, and so many good memories of just hanging out with my friends that were showing cows or showing sheep or horses, and I had the chickens.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know, I tell everybody like that first best to show is what got me hooked. And here it is almost 40 years later,
Mhm.
and the poultry has been such a huge part of my life. Um,
Um, do you have chickens to help get rid of ticks?
Believe it or not, the peacocks do a great job at
Oh.
that. People will say, guinea fowl, they're constantly going after ticks, but they're not pretty to look at, and they make a lot of noise that I don't like to hear. I've been there, done that. Won't do that again. I'll just keep the peacocks. And believe it or not, the peacocks, I have a pretty good sized garden, and I would deal with what's called the Colorado potato beetle, and it starts off as a little orange slug. The peacocks every night would go through the anymore. So as far as a natural, you know, yeah, didn't have to use an insecticide. It was that. Um, but when they leave the baby house, they come down to this building again, another building with heat. For a few that need to come out here, but they go from here, then they'll either go in the barn or go outside. But
Mhm.
yeah, these guys are one a little eye.
Very cool. I love
Yeah.
the feathers on the legs and on the feet.
Yep. That's just uh, part of their breed standard as far as what they're supposed to have. And yep, when they're all feathered out this time of year, the birds are a little rough condition just because it is breeding time. But come fall, they're getting ready for winter. Everybody is just you know um, all fluffed out, and they come running, and they look like they have bloomers on. But
Yeah.
this breed is very as far as it's not temperamental. They're a very friendly, docile breed, not flighty. But yeah, we can. You want to walk in there?
So,
Yeah. As
what
we
do
go in
you
the barn,
feed the
the,
chickens?
the, they get a pellet. That's a protein pellet. Like this is we're coming in the barn now. This is where everybody comes for the winter, and as you see, there's tons of those mottled birds. But this is what I feed. They just have a lot, and because I have a ton of birds, but they start off with uh, uh, um, they get a chick starter, then a growing pellet, and then when they start laying, they get uh, that breeder pellet or protein pellet. Um, and basically, as I had said, the birds are built up of feather, and you want a higher protein pellet to make them, a better specimen of the cochin.
Perfect. Do you know how many peacocks you have in total?
Um, well,
Ish.
so yeah, no, I have somewhere around 60.
Okay.
Um, it's become quite the addiction. I started out with 3, and I have a friend that raises a bunch of different colors, and I go peacock shopping twice a year and come back with 6 or 8, and they stay upstairs in my barn for 3 or 4 months, and then they realize that the barn is home, and then I open the door and let them go, and basically once they're loose, they're here to stay. Uh, on wintry nights, bad weather nights, they will all sleep upstairs in the barn. On days like tonight, they'll be roosted in the trees around here. Um, but they realize this is home, and so
So do you feed the peacocks anything different than what you give the chickens?
The chickens, nope. The geese and the peacocks, I'll throw whole corn. They get 2 buckets in the morning. I just toss it out back behind the barn, and they go through the geese. Well, they eat. They're a big heavy goose, and they'll go through 50 pounds in like 2 to 3 days. The
Wow.
peacocks, like this time of year, they eat a lot of insects, a lot of grubs. They're constantly, you'll see them walking around. It's funny, they wander a lot first thing in the morning and at nighttime at dusk. They're walking, and they'll be out in the pasture or just going around picking. But very easy keeper. They pretty high around. So if you neighbors, I don't.
Uh, um, do you have to have a special license to have peacocks?
Go ahead. No, needed peacock. Uh, some of the wild you have special for. Not you can own a peacock.
Okay.
And it's basically as like I stated earlier, anywhere you have a bird, especially, they can't be any place that's really damp. Wet bedding, damp, like if we get a week of straight rain, they'll get sick pretty quick with dampness. So they need to be someplace where they can get dry.
You don't have any turkeys on your farm, do you?
No, I do not. Um, I just peacocks are prettier.
Yes. Uh,
So um,
so curious minds want to know, how long does it take you to feed your animals? What does your typical day look like?
like I get up roughly 6:15, and I spend half an hour, 40 minutes running around during the summertime, letting birds out in the morning, watering the ducks. It's funny, when I come out in the morning, my ducks will start yelling at me, and just give them water. Most of my feeders are like, you can fill them up and they can go 2 or 3 days without being up against food. Anyway, everything. Then I get home, work, go, everybody, um, off, collect eggs. Um, you know, when it work, so go around up, like a wild turkey. They roost high in a tree and don't really have, much predator issues. And so, I don't have to worry too much about them. The chickens, on the other hand, things like raccoons, foxes, possums at night, you really need to shut them up every night. And
Mhm.
so I shut them up and then just let them out in the next day. I'm lucky, Wednesdays, and I don't work Wednesdays or weekends. And so usually my Wednesday, I'm cleaning something, and weekends I'm cleaning something, as far as just to keep up. The baby chicks have to be cleaned every Wednesday and every on the weekend, because they just, yeah, that's it. But never lacking for something to do.
Now,
I will say that.
you ship your chickens and chicks,
Yep.
right? How do
I
you do
ship
that?
chickens. I ship
Chickens.
juvenile to adult chickens. I shipped chicks once, only to Long Island, and they got there and there were too many that had passed. And I said, it's too much work to rate to get them to hatch and everything. So I ship juvenile to adult birds right through the post office. They go Priority Express. They leave Harpersville. Okay. They leave Harpersville around 3, and they can be in California before noon the next day.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's usually 24 to 48 hours. I've had very, very good luck. And then, people get them and then they show them at fairs, show them at shows, or just, somebody wants to have, yeah, yeah. I'm shipping some this afternoon. This is just I call them glorified cat carriers. I basically,
Oh, wow.
two of the little ones or one big chicken can go in one of these. And I zip tie a cup, and then there'll be shavings in the bottom of the box. And I put that cup will be full of food. But like I said, they're roughly, 24 hours are in this box. It always amazes me, tomorrow morning somebody will have them out running around in California, and it's just like, how is that possible? But yeah, it's been a neat thing, and very very grateful to the post office.
Awesome.
My post office is great.
Yeah.
But
Do you do anything special to help protect from predators, or do you have any big predators around here?
the only thing that gets, knock on wood, I mean, I'll say this,
Mm,
and uh, like a neighbor dog.
yeah.
That's happened a couple times. I have had a couple geese get killed by coyotes. Um, Foxes will come in and grab a chicken. Right during the day I've had that. But um, one of the worst predators, believe it or not, I didn't even think about this last time, but weasels or mink.
Wow.
Um, they'll come in and they just kill.
Mm,
Um, and don't, I I don't want to say, I mean, it's not like I'm raising these things to support wildlife, but at least, the foxes are taking it off to feed something.
mhm.
Um, I'll have hawks that kill a bird here and there, and they literally eat. They eat so much off the bird. It's like, I mean, yes, it's upsetting to me, but at least, they're
Right.
they're feeding themselves and their babies, and I get it. Um, but knock on wood, I haven't, really had that bad problem with predators. I do think having the 7 dogs running around, um, they're not out at night, but I shut everything up at night. So, they, take care of that.
That's awesome.
I keep
And
things, by, keeping things clean. It's like and emptying water and keeping the water clean. I really keep like sickness stuff down. I don't really deal much with that. And it's just, again, going back to how how clean, you don't want it wet, you don't want it damp. And they're so happy. Like, you clean a pen, and yeah, it might be work, but you put fresh shavings down, and they are so happy dusting themselves, and they're happy chickens, and then that in turn makes me happy.
do you have a pond on your property?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep, it's nice crystal blue. I put the blue food coloring in it last week. So yeah, it's crystal blue. It's got that's right. I get home from work, I go over and feed the fit. It's stocked. Well, I have a ton of koi,
Okay.
and I go and like for 10 minutes, when I get home from work, I'll go over and feed. I have one grass carp. His name's Wally. He's about 14 years old, and saw him for the first time this past Sunday. So that
Awesome.
made my day, because it's like, I don't know how long they live, and it's like, oh, there's Wally. He's like 3 foot long. He's a big fish. But the geese aren't. They'll play in the creek. They really aren't. Mine are these dewlap Toulouse geese really aren't big pond floating things. I think they're too heavy. So they play in the creek, but they don't go in the pond much.
Awesome. So one final
And then there's
question
three.
before we leave here. Sorry about that. Um, do you have
That's
any
right.
idea about how many eggs your birds produce?
Um, the Cochins, they'll lay roughly, I'd say probably 200 eggs a year.
Okay. Per
Give or
chicken.
take, 175, 200. They're bred. One of their traits is they're broody birds. They like to sit on their eggs, and so they'll lay 6 eggs, and if you don't take them, they want to be a mom.
Mm,
And so they will set for 2 months straight. You could keep giving them eggs. They hatch every 21 days, but you can keep, and they'll just keep hatching baby chicks for you. But it takes a lot out of the bird. I do it with the incubators, but so and if they're setting for 2 months, they're not getting the nutrition that they need to produce eggs, and so they're out of production for another 2 months, and so maybe 8 months a year. And speak of the devil, she just came out. Um, but yeah, I would say roughly 200. Where your golden comets, your barred rocks, the production birds, they'll lay upwards of 300 to 300 and quarter
wow.
eggs, but they're not going to sit on them and hatch them.
Right.
And so but they're not bred for that. Where Cochins, that's one of their traits. And
That's awesome. Well, Jamie, we want to thank you so much for letting us come here and sharing your experience with us. And thank you for being a farmer, and thank you for allowing us to come here. And
Oh, you're more than welcome.
we look forward to hearing from you again. And thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you guys later. Have a good day.
Thank you.